Hi parents out there, this is Officer Williams. I'm sitting here with Officer Gales and Miss Lombardo, and we're going to talk a little bit about vapes. That's something that's been kind of plaguing the schools all over the country lately, and I think since it's kind of a newer technology, it's something new that's out there, it's not like cigarettes, we just want to send out a video to show parents kind of what to look for. So here we have a couple of vapes that we are finding on students, and Officer Gales, you could explain what these all
Sure.
are.
So I'm going to talk about the three different vapes that I have here today. Should know before I talk about the vapes that they come in all different sizes. There's a lot of different knockoffs, and I've seen probably 10 different ones professionally that I've seen. And so these are only just a small variety, but these are the ones that are most common. So the first one that we see often would be what's called a boulder. So it has a pod that's attached to the top, and basically it has a button, and you would just inhale from this. It's a little bit cheaper device, which is why a lot of kids are using them, and the pods are also cheaper. And basically, as you can see, it's just a long black stick, and it fits easily in pockets or in book bags or whatnot, so it's pretty easy to hide. The next type of vape that we often see are what they would call a Juul. The best way to describe what they look like is it kind of looks like a longer USB drive, and it again has the pod that is single use, and then you would just put it back in and buy new ones. These are a little bit more expensive, so oftentimes kids aren't buying them. However, they are extremely easy to hide, almost in plain sight, because they just look like a normal everyday object.
And Juuls are so popular that people actually call it juuling instead of vaping. And they're always usually in bright colors and stuff like that. And most of the stuff that they're inhaling, it has a flavor to it, and it's water vapor. So it's actually very hard for us to detect too as law enforcement because it dissipates very fast.
Yeah, so this is one of the pods, and I don't know what flavor that they have it in. It's very small. One of the things I want to show is the juice that you can buy. Instead of buying just the pods, you can actually buy a larger container of juice, and then these are refillable because the top just pops right off. So a cheaper way for kids to have it, and that I've seen, is that they would have the larger container, and then they would refill the pod, just like that. And you could do that with both the Juul and the Boulder, but you also see a larger style vape, which is what this originally was built for. The last style that I brought to show today was it's basically a more cylindrical vape, and the reason that this one's more specific that I wanted to show is because what they're coming out with now is THC, kind of like marijuana, inside the vapes. And when people are buying these vape pods, it's unlike the square ones, but like I said, it's more cylindrical, so it would work with this style of vape. So of the ones that I've seen, they've all been cylindrical. They all have this darker hue to them, and they would go with this style vape. I believe they call these like a vape pen, and that's what we're seeing with the THC. And obviously that's dangerous, because now we're not just talking about nicotine, we're talking about high concentrations of THC, upwards of 90% THC, and that has caused kids to go into psychosis, cause people to pass out, as well as other health problems. So those are, it's a main concern of both law enforcement and the school, is that people are bringing or having THC vapes.
So, Ms. Lombardo, how often, as assistant principal, are you seeing these kinds of things in the schools?
We see those on pretty much a daily basis. Kind of depends on the day. When the THC cartridges that he showed you in this vape came out, and we started really seeing those heavily in our community, we saw them multiple times a day. We're seeing less of that now, but the boulders and the regular Juuls are extremely common, and we confiscate those on a fairly regular basis.
And as far as on the middle school level, we are pro citation, so if you do bring one of these into the school, you are probably going to get a citation, which involves a court appearance and all of that thing, because we just don't want it brought into school. You shouldn't have it anyway. Who knows what the long-term effects of these devices are, because they're brand new and we don't really know what they are, but they do help kids get addicted to cigarettes and other things as they go on, because there's actually nicotine in these vapes that kind of lead to the addiction of the devices.
They've actually created a new city ordinance as well that not only, so obviously you could get a ticket for possessing one of these if you're underage, but they also have a ticket now for smoking them at a school. So if any student or anybody is found smoking a vape in the school, it's also a ticketable offense.
And it's actually a higher fine for that offense, which is something to consider. Just don't bring it in the school, and you're going to avoid that extra penalty. This video is just done as a reminder of what to look for out there to make sure that your kids aren't carrying these devices, and now you know what they're used for.